Hello everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. I have a little bit of a special treat for you today. It's some practical application of some shit it's the fan concepts and ideas, and it's coming from another patron. So he was kind enough to share some information with me, sent a few pages of information, and he didn't say, don't read it, so I'm going to read it. Fortunately, there's no names that I need to change to protect the innocent, but still, it's a fabulous story. The patron is in Hawaii. He used to not be in Hawaii. Now, when I went to Hawaii, the first evening I was there, this was years ago, back when I was married with kids. We were on the beach. It was sunset, and I thought, this is amazing. What a beautiful sunset. And we're standing there, and I looked to my right or my left. I can't remember which way I looked, but people were lining up to watch the sunset. It was just absolutely beautiful. So the guy, no shirt, scraggly shorts, scruffy hair, leathery skin, beard, looked like he crawled out from under a rock. But, you know, he's probably just a guy who lives in Hawaii and lives natural. And I thought, that's got to be great. This guy doesn't have to put any effort into it. Man, it's like heaven here in Hawaii. And I guess I was probably a little bit naive about how much, Hawaii was heavenly. But still, this video is about shit hitting the fan and thinking about it. Thinking about how it goes. I mean, you wish for one thing and you get something else. Or you wish for one thing and what you get isn't really what you thought. So, I mean, today, the smoke blew away because we had big breezes. Well, I thought, that's great, no more smoke. And instead, I got 10 degrees hotter because now we have direct sunlight again. Right? You trade one thing for another. So, there's great lessons in this story. Great lessons for us to think about when shit hits the fan. Luckily, it's done in a very nice way. Pretty amusing, I think. But Hawaii was really interesting. Anyways, I'll come back to that. Because I looked at Hawaii and I thought, man, if shit hits the fan, I want to be on a tropical island with bananas and mangoes and pineapples, and you can go hunt wild pig and go catch seafood. It's going to be great. What a great place to be if shit hits the fan. But it's not all it's cracked up to be if you start looking at shit hitting the fan. I was in Hawaii. I had hot water and electricity and a car to drive around in and food made for me. A little different, right, than shit hitting the fan. So, I want to start with this. This guy, his moniker is Master Blaster, right? And he's he wrote a nice letter. He writes, John, I bought land and moved to the country jungle of Hawaii. So I've thought, man, if I could live somewhere other than California, where would it be? Where would be the ideal shit it's the fan place, So I've thought about Alaska. I've thought about the Everglades, the swamps down in the Gulf Coast. I've thought about tropical islands. Where is the ideal place? Well, I don't know if there is a really ideal place for shit hitting the fan. Anyway, so he says, I bought land and moved to the country/jungle of Hawaii. I was able to do such a thing from the sale of another business. So I put half down, then would pay off the other half, as I was going to be receiving payments for the second half of my payout. That's on his business. So Master Blaster says, sounds a little risky, but I really saw no other choice. Well, I did all that was moved practically to the moon, and my second payout was not coming. So he's in Hawaii. He's purchased the property. The money's not coming. So he gets an oh no, oh shit moment, right? That was 6 months ago. 6 months ago, now he's writing and saying, hey, look, I quit getting money from my business that I was supposed to get, and I owe the other half on this property in Hawaii. Right? What does that do? Well, it didn't make his life easier. So he says, that was 6 months ago. I have rented out my living space to tourists in order to make it work. So I've got to say here, hats off to you, Master Blaster. That is getting on it and getting it done. Whether you did Airbnb or VRBO, you got your place rented, right, to make it work. He's getting money from renters, right, from vacationers, so that he can continue to stay there and pay. Talk about improvising, adapting, overcoming. Master Blaster, you're the man. He says, so I have moved into the jungle with a tent and my preps. So this is where I stopped the story. I went on this first trip to Hawaii with my family, my kids, and we went on a jungle hike. It was really an open trail. It was more like a driveway, long driveway, to go check out some waterfalls. And, you've got the path in front of you. And on each side of the path, there's just dense bush, jungle, bamboo stuff. And every now and then you get a peek through it. One time I thought, did I just see a tent in the fucking jungle? People live in tents? So I backed up and went over to the bush and kind of stuck my head through. There wasn't, that I can remember, a fence proper. It was kind of like the fence was the jungle. So I kind of, parted the jungle and stuck my head through and looked, and there it was. It was like a house tent, one of these larger tents that has a couple of rooms and a main room, like maybe a sleeping room and a storage area and then a main sitting room, and then it had a big rain fly over it, because you're in the jungles in Hawaii. It's a rainforest. It's always raining. So, yeah, I saw that. I was like, people live in this, right? You go up this driveway and you can just live in the jungle, I guess. I thought, that's got to be a piece of property someone owns. It's got to be. You can't just live in the jungle unless you own the jungle. Anyways, Master Blaster owns some country/jungle. And now he's living in it. He's living in it. And he writes, what I have learned in shit hits the fan light to medium. Right? He's not getting shot at. People aren't stabbing each other. They're not fighting over food. Right? But so he calls it shit hits the fan light to medium. Yeah, fuck. He's got to give up his house to tourists in order to make enough money to pay the bills. Right? This great plan to move to Hawaii, man, that's awesome. And then to have it tampered with. Anyways, so he says, what I have learned. Number one, bugs are a part of life. No matter what you do, rats, spiders, ants, etc. are forever. You must learn technique on how to reduce to minimum. Well said. He says, I keep all dry food in an ice chest or old fridge. This keeps ants and rats out of pasta, breads, and cereal. I have some power for a small fridge and freezer. Cooking and planning meals is much more thought out. That's fascinating information from Master Blaster. Because he's living it. And he's lived it for 6 fucking months. 6 months. Hats off to you, brother. You're living it, right? And he did not write this. I did not get a tone of, I'm fucking pissed about this. I hate Hawaii. John, you're a prick. I hate the world. None of that. This is life. He's dealing with it. But he's also looking at, shit, it's the fan, right? And he's realized insects, rats, pain in the ass. We right now have clean houses, refrigerators that are cold. But when things get different, when things get weird, you notice the anomalies, or rather the differences between real reality and civilized versions of reality. So he says, this keeps I keep all dry food in an ice chest or old fridge. This keeps ants and rats out of pasta, breads, and cereal. I have some power for a small fridge and freezer. Cooking and planning meals is much more thought out. Right? Because you don't want to open things up and then expose them to insects and pests and rats. So you got to think things out, plan things. He says, only condiments and leftovers go in the fridge. Leftovers, cooked food. Right? And so he's on a fridge. He's got a fridge out in the jungle where he's staying. So this fridge, he's running on an extension cord, or does he have some solar panels? I don't know. But he does have a fridge, which is a very nice thing. Should it's the fan heavy, remember he's in light to medium, should it's the fan heavy, no power, intermittent power, you're going to figure things out. Figure things out. So, only condiments and leftovers in the fridge. Pull out frozen food to defrost it at breakfast time. Keep in secure location so it's not stolen by animals. So again, he pulls frozen food out, and he's got to thaw it. It's got to be ready to cook by dinner time, but you've got to keep it secure, right? It's really interesting because I don't think, even though I've talked about using bug spray on humans, but yeah, bug spray to get rid of ants and wasps, but he's also dealing with rats. Rats. Right? I bought canned meats years ago from the cop supply house you mentioned in the past. That was a long time ago when I got that caveman meat, right? And I think we've got the same company with a different label on it, the same product with a different label on it at the preparedmind.club. But he says, canned meats you mentioned in the past. I have lived off of it for 6 months. Pork and beef, the best. Chicken is okay, must cook a while. Turkey is outstanding. I didn't see them on your new website, but you did mention all the same company these days. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, and Jolene will double check. Make sure we've got our canned meat on there. Again, we're men, we're omnivores, we eat vegetables and we eat meat. You need to have a supply of meat, and you can get freeze-dried super meat from Thrive at the site, and you can get the canned meat, which is moist. His recommendation, make sure you cook the chicken a while, right? It's okay. Anyways, what's he doing at this stage? He's living off his preps. He's living off the canned meat. Now, I don't know if he's taken everything out of his house and put it in the jungle in boxes under a tarp maybe. I don't know. He doesn't cover that, but he's eating it. Right? I have lived off of it for 6 months. I don't know if Master Blaster is destitute or if he's getting enough money to live and he's rotating his preps out. He has enough money to be on Patreon. I know it's only $2 a month, but he hasn't asked for a free subscription or anything like that. I don't know how he's doing it, but he's living off of his preps. He's learning to live on them in the jungle in Hawaii in basically bug out conditions. He's in a fucking tent. And I've seen people living in tents, so I know he's not full of shit. It's possible. Okay. Next subject, crapping in a bucket system is work. Mostly finding grass, dirt, whatever to cover your business. Whatever to cover, the mess. It goes fast if you don't want nasty bugs in your bucket. You don't trust me. So, another thing we've talked about is, or haven't spent a lot of time talking about, is how to deal with human waste. Right? You have to dig a hole and make improvised cat boxes. But he says you want to have, the whole bucket. He's using the bucket. You don't want bugs in your bucket. Anyways, it goes fast if you don't want nasty bugs in your bucket. Trust me, you don't. So that means he's actually gotten bugs in the bucket, his crap bucket, and it's probably not a nice feeling to get, right? Bugs, or maybe just the thought of bugs crawling on you, right? Next subject, right? So to all who are just going to have a bucket toilet lid, get ready for some fun. Using the bucket outside with mosquitoes in your face is fun too. It's that extra that is hard. Crapping in a bucket with bugs and almost out of grass to cover early in the morning and it's raining. Oh my God. So, like I said, I've thought about going to the islands. I've thought about going to the swamps. I've thought about going up to Alaska. Right? Every place, no matter where you go, is going to have hardships. Hardships and pests. They aren't even consistent. Right at my place here, no mosquitoes. Other places I know about that I would consider going to have mosquitoes. Sometimes more, sometimes less. Rats, mice, kangaroo rats, birds. Birds will steal your shit if you just lay it around. Just crazy. So he's in Hawaii, and I've been in Hawaii, and it is gorgeously beautiful, perfect weather, amazing perfect. But when it rains, even though it's still 70 degrees at the coldest, that makes you cold and wet, miserable, you know, in a way. And not miserable like freezing your ass off in Minnesota in a rainstorm, but, you know, it still makes you miserable. And then trying to do your business in a bucket while it's raining in the morning with mosquitoes attacking you. You get my drift, right? Or get Master Blaster's drift? It's just not fun, right? He writes, I have propane too, but wood collection, toilet grass collection, designing life around rain and bugs too. And he said, these are hidden challenges everyone will face in shit hits the fan. If I've learned anything in life is nobody gets a free ride. Keep up the good fight, and I will too also. Also, Tommy Robinson was freed. Good news. Tommy Robinson is that British alternative media guy that was recording some video and got arrested and put in jail for 13 months without a real hearing because the news he was trying to cover, the information he was trying to record, had to do with Muslims in England that were causing trouble, and he wanted to report on it. And he's a bit of a rabble-rouser. Anyways, Tommy Robinson, for the time being, is free. Oh, man. Hot, hot, hot. Anyways, the Master Blaster story, I think, is really relevant. Really relevant. If you haven't ever been camping, you need to. It is an experience that is very much like shit hitting the fan. You realize upon the moment of camping how things really work. Your hands get dirty, you go to the creek or the lake if you've got one, and you wash your hands off, and they're still dirty. There's still dirt on you, right? And the soap. Oops, I forgot the soap. You know, you get to shit it's the fan. If you don't have mosquito repellent, mosquitoes are going to attack your ass if you're in an area prone to mosquitoes. Living in a jungle as Master Blaster is, yeah, mosquitoes, insects, they're going to crawl into your food. You know, their sense of smell is amazing. Same with mice or rats. They're going to smell you out. They're going to sniff you out. They're going to get into things. They're already a problem. Just for the most part, we don't deal with them. Right? We do things. So one of the other items I was going to talk about, because of thinking of his issue, right? Having, if you're bugging out, you're not going to have Tupperware to store your food in, to keep it sealed so that pests and bugs can't get into it, right? Or are you going to? Are you going to think about that? Are you going to have buckets around that have lids that snap or fasten or tighten in place so that you can put opened food items into them and secure them from insects and other pests, other vermin that would spoil it, right? And when you have leftovers, I mean, fortunately, Master Blaster has the ability to put leftovers in his fridge. You know, his fridge is being powered right now, right? Because he's taking out frozen food and thawing it also. So he's got power, either solar or not. So your fridge is an excellent box, but without power, it's not a refrigerator. It's just a storage box. Even still, when shit hits the fan, you can put unopened items, or rather opened items, in it. If you don't have power, it's still a secure place to put opened food. And mice are going to figure things out. You know, rats and mice and other pests, they're going to continue to be a problem when shit hits the fan. They're not going to go away. Things will probably get worse having to do with them. Unless you really do plan, right? You've got bug repellent. You've got bug killer. Have you considered those for your preps? Right? You can't call the Orkin man. You can't call any pest control people, right? Here's another one. Do you have rat traps? Literally, mouse traps, rat traps. When shit hits the fan, they're going to do two things. Maybe several things. You're going to catch and kill vermin before they can ruin your food. Right? Before they get into your house and tear shit up. Right? And sometimes you don't realize that they've done it until it's too late. And when I lived in my other house, it was kind of like a fortress. I built it as a fortress. Still got mice inside. They would still come in. They can come through incredibly small cracks. And they would tear into dog food, and then they would carry off dog food. And you don't notice that you're missing a couple kibbles a day until you go into a closet and you move something, and all of a sudden there's 1,000 pieces of dog food laying there. Right? It creates a very unsanitary condition. And then you've got a mouse infestation if you're not careful. So Master Blaster's story really kind of gives you an idea. He's living in literally a paradise world. But it has its hardship moments. Right? He's dealing with a lot of rain. And he's dealing with not having a bathroom when he's not in his own place. And hopefully, on the one hand, I want him to be able to rent his place every day or weeks at a time so that he makes lots of money so he can continue to pay for his property. But on the other hand, the more money he makes renting it, the bigger his personal hardship is. Does he? I hope that he gets a couple of days every couple of weeks where he can go in and clean himself up and clean up the house for the next guests. I'm hoping that's how that works. But for the time while they're there, yeah, he's out in the jungle. He's actually living it and getting a feel for it. And that is very valuable experience. Every time I go camping, it seems like, I want to take the fifth wheel with me so that I've got a house when I get there. Right? But you figure it out really fast. You figure out what's important. Paper towels, soap, deodorant. Do you have enough towels? Just literally towels. Are they a part of your prep? You had a hard day. You get, you need to get clean. You need to get dry. Whatever the deal is, towels. Literally towels. There's so many items that you need. It's almost impossible to have everything. So then you have to start thinking about sacrifices and making sacrifices. If you bunker in your house, you have everything now in your living, right? You're clean, you have clothes, you have towels, you have everything you need. Bug spray, you got rat traps, you've got everything you need. But if your plan is to bug out into the woods, right, you had best practice it and go out and live a week, just as Master Blaster's living in his jungle. You need to go out and live in it, and live in the exact location or one as close to it as you dare, so that you can get a feel for it, right? A feel for how the food works. You open the food, you walk off, are you going to come back 10 minutes later and it's covered in yellow jackets or ants? Right? How are you going to deal with that stuff? Camping's fun because you're not... Camping's fun because you're not being, chased or hunted. You're not being pursued by other people. It's just camping. Shit Hits the Fan is going to have other elements in it. So, that is one of the strongest recommendations. Now, if your plan is to bunker in when shit hits the fan, I've made the recommendation in the past, and I'll make it again here. Turn off the power, 100%. Turn off the water. If your plan is to fill barrels, or if you have water bladders or buckets, you need to improvise a way to test. Turning off the water and then trying to live out of buckets of water and drinking bottles of water and get an idea how that works, how long it lasts. Are your kids going to drink half the bottle? Are they going to spill it all over the place? There are so many challenges to trying to live differently than we do in our very spoiled regular life. Some of the examples I can give are when my power goes off here, right? I can turn on a generator. And shit, it's the fan. I don't think I'm going to want to do that. It's going to attract a lot of attention. So I've got, for winter, a heat source that requires no electricity. It puts out an awful lot of heat, but I've got kind of cramped living conditions. So if I were to stay in this living environment, you know, do you have adequate heat? And then living around it, working around it, how can you deal with it? So you need to practice living shit it's the fan style in the winter and in the summer, right? The two extremes, you know, spring and fall, they can have extreme elements, but they're not the extremes. You know, the extreme cold, can you survive it? Do you have adequate heat? In the summer, extreme heat, can you keep your place cool enough? Are you going to be sweating out so much water that you're going to make yourself sick? Or are you going to be so hot that you're lethargic? Are you going to be so hot, right, that you exhaust your water supplies faster than you otherwise would think you would? In other words, are you going to have to go to the watering hole twice a day instead of just once? You know, does that increase your risk, etc.? So I recommend practicing, just like Mr. Master Blaster is. And he's doing it by necessity. He really is. But it's really good information. I'm glad he shared this story with me. I am absolutely not making fun of him in the least. It's great information to consider. And you need to, and I'm pretty sure the books that we have at the preparedmind.club cover proper sanitation in the field. That is critical. You can get extremely sick from unsanitary conditions. You need to understand that you know, where you crap needs to be a long way from your source of water. You know, because you do not want anything unsanitary getting into your water source. You can get dysentery, cholera, other diseases pretty quick. Make you sick and kill you. So, you know, learning how to take care of that. And yeah, you need to cover it up, right? You dig a hole, you put something in it, you're going to cover it up with a layer of grass and dirt. And then you can only go so many times before that hole is full. But he's talking about the difficulty of using the grass. And I understand the reason for grass. It keeps it kind of poofy and airy and allows the bacteria to do their job, kind of like a compost. You know, it's composting with your own poop. But once you fill one hole, you've got to go dig the next hole. This is probably where you can talk about a big group versus a small group. In the old days, big groups would dig big holes, and then they'd build an outhouse and put over it. Right? And outhouses stink. Right? But that's life and that's business. So how you deal with that, you know, what conditions you want to live under, you need to think about it. Right? If you've got adequate water very close and you've got a septic system on your house or your bug out location, you're probably in pretty good shape. You just dump some water and it causes the natural flushing action. Make sure it washes down to the tank, you're good. If you're in a city, it may not be that good. You could end up getting things washing back up through the toilet unless it has a anti-backflow valve on it. Those are pretty handy, but I don't know if all houses have them. I doubt it. But if you are on a hill in a city, your toilet may work just fine if you have enough water to flush things down. All things need to be considered. All things need to be considered. What Master Blaster brought up was surprises will hit you. You need to consider pests, mosquitoes, bugs. You need to consider food. What's going to happen in adverse conditions with food? Right? And can you refrigerate it? Will you take care of it? And also, you know, dealing with going to the bathroom. And when you go camping, when you do like, let's just call it primitive camping, you're way out in the woods where there's no outhouses, there's no campground restrooms, there's no showers. You start going, oh, did I forget a shovel? I think I went camping once without a shovel and had to improvise with something. I don't know if it was a hammer or just some tool I had in the truck, but really messes things up in a big way. You need a shovel. Okay, anyways, that shovel, you can dig yourself out of a lot of trouble. Thank you, Master Blaster, for sharing your experiences. Good luck to you, sir. And thank you to everyone here on Patreon for supporting and sponsoring us, our efforts. Things are getting weird. Things are getting crazy. We're getting closer to midterm elections. The economy is very interesting. I don't want to get into it, but it is definitely a fucking disaster on wheels. So, get prepared now. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and bug spray. And I'll see you guys next time. Chance favors the prepared mind, right? Is yours. Do you have a shovel? See you later.